Hari Bol, my brothers and my sisters. There's a lot of misconceptions about Ketu. People see it as something that we're supposed to run away from, not have in our lives anymore, and move away from. But in reality, what if I told you that Ketu actually holds the key to your soul's liberation, to your ability to transcend, and your ability to tap into the deepest spiritual part of yourself? Today, I'm going to be going through Ketu through all the houses so that you can see what this means for you. So let us check out what Ketu through the houses is now.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari
Ketu is a very interesting and very wonderful placement in our charts because Ketu not only brings our past life talents and what innately we can bring into the world, but it is also the key to our spiritual liberation. Nowadays, we take Ketu as something that we're supposed to let go of, something that we're supposed to move away from. But this can sometimes just get us deeper and deeper into more illusions in our lives. The dance between Rahu and Ketu is definitely an interesting one. And you definitely have to check out my Rahu through the houses in order for you to understand a little bit more about Ketu through the houses, because they are both intertwined. Now, today we're going to be talking about each individual house and what does this mean when you have a Ketu in a certain house. Please check your Vedic astrological charts. If you don't have your Vedic astrological charts, you can check out in the description here below. I have a Vedic astrological calculator for free so that you can find out your Ketu placement. I'm also going to be talking about the remedies for Ketu so that we can strengthen our Ketu and have less of the negative effects. So, let us get started. But before we get started, I want to just introduce myself. My name is Vinodini Dasi. I am a Vedic astrologer, author, and practitioner of the ancient Vedic arts. So if you are into Vedic astrology, ancient knowledge, and ancient wisdom, make sure to hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so that you never miss any of the nectar. So with Ketu being a very powerful graha, this is the last planet, the last graha of the series of the planets through the houses. And Ketu in Vedic astrology is known as the mystic, the renunciate, and the path to liberation. Ketu truly is a very interesting placement in our charts that is actually quite the blessing to help us break away from the cycle of life and death. This is the main ingredient and the main reason why Ketu is in our charts. If Rahu represents what the soul believes and needs to become complete, because remember, Rahu is very illusion. Ketu represents what the soul has already mastered. And the way that Ketu came about, one of the pastimes of Ketu is actually the same pastime as Rahu in Vedic astrology, which is where the elixir of immortality was being passed by Mohini, which is a form of Krishna. And this was happening because the Devas and the Asuras, the demons and the gods, came together to churn the milk ocean to get the elixir of immortality. And then Krishna, in Mohini form, tricked the demons from taking the elixir of immortality. But there was one demon who did not fall for this. And when the elixir of immortality touched the tongue of the demon, he became immortal, but immediately his head was cut off by the Sudan chakra of Krishna. So this ended up having a floating head, which is Rahu, and then a body, which is Ketu. And as we can see in this picture, Ketu is beheaded and it has just the body. So Rahu says, go experience the world, be of the world, attach yourself more to the world, be entangled in the desires of the world. While Ketu says, you have already been here. Now seek what is eternal. That is the energy of Ketu. You've already been here. You've already had thousands of relationships and parents and children and lifetimes. You've been a boy, you've been a girl, you've been animals, you've been all of it. And after so many lifetimes, Ketu really comes through and says, you've done this before. Now let's look for something that is eternal love, eternal happiness that can only be found in spiritual attachments and in spiritual practices. This is one of the reasons why Ketu is the one that deals a lot with the spirituality of our lives. So Ketu is actually the Moksha karaka, the indicator of liberation in our charts. And among all the grahas, among all the planets, Ketu is the most spiritual of them all because its ultimate purpose is to actually help our soul transcend the identification of the false ego with the temporary world and awaken our true eternal nature, which is our soul. So as we know, we have three bodies. We have the physical body, we have the ethereal subtle body, where the physical body is this body that you see. The ethereal body is where we have our mind, false ego, and intelligence. We may not see it, but we all know that everybody has a mind. And the body that we truly are eternally is the soul within the heart. So Ketu directly connects to liberating the soul from this material body and from this material reincarnations back and forth. So that is the story of Ketu and how it came about. So the spiritual meaning of Ketu, we can say Rahu is the representation of desire, planning, identity, ambition, false ego, and future seeking. While the energy of Ketu, the body, the beheaded body, is actually the experience, the intuition, the memory, the wisdom, and the instinct that naturally we get from this. So Ketu has no head because it no longer seeks fulfillment through worldly desires. It is no longer seeking fulfillment through the senses. As we can see, our senses are mostly in our face, the eyes, the ears, the mouth, and the nose. So Ketu doesn't represent itself also with the false ego, which is usually in our face. So Ketu is beheaded to represent this. And it has already experienced those things in previous lives. It knows that it's the same thing over and over and over and over again. So this is why Ketu often creates detachment in the area of life that it occupies, because it has this nature of detachment naturally. So the soul remembers deep down inside, I've done this before. I've done this before. I know how to do this. I'm a master at these things. I've done this before. So Ketu really shows that past life mastery that we've had. And then we can also see our past life tendencies through the placement of Ketu. So if we're doing any sort of Ketu predictions of past lives, we use this. And if you would like to learn more astrology, Vedic astrology with me, I actually have some Vedic astrological workshops. Check them out in the pinned comment below if you want to learn more Vedic astrology. So Rahu, it is what you are learning, what you want to learn now, what you want to discover now, while Ketu is what you already know. So Ketu represents those spiritual gifts that we were born with innately, the innate talents that come to us very easily, the past life masteries, and the deep subconscious memory. We just feel this deep subconscious connection from past lives. That is the thing that Ketu upholds. And the natural abilities that come into our lives are designed and are held in the Ketu placement. So the challenge is that we often undervalue Ketu because it becomes so natural. It becomes so second nature to us. But many people spend years chasing Rahu while ignoring the incredible gifts that are actually sitting in Ketu. And interestingly enough, Ketu and Rahu has a very interesting dance along with the yugas. So the golden age, Satya Yuga, Ketu was actually the top energy where everybody in the world wanted to become spiritually enlightened, and that was the norm. Then when we went into the silver age, which is Tetra Yuga, that is when Ketu started descending and Rahu started ascending. And now Ketu in this era was more about like the spiritual rituals and superstitions started to came about. Then in Dwapara Yuga is when Rahu started to fully take over, and Ketu's energies started to diminish even more. Less and less people were interested in spiritual matters. More and more people were interested in material matters. And now in the era that we're currently in, which is Kali Yuga, this is the era where Rahu prevails, where Rahu is the top person, the top energy, while Ketu is the lower energy. Only 25% of the population is interested in enlightenment and in spiritual progress, while most of the people are in the energies of exploitation of matter, exploitation of the senses, and exploitation of consuming more and more, which is very Rahubian. So here Ketu is the one that is going to help us to understand. And especially if you are following a very spiritual path, Ketu is a very important aspect in your life that you should definitely take into consideration. Because people often fear Ketu because it can create this detachment, this loss, this isolation, this confusion, and this interest in things. But Ketu is not trying to punish you. Ketu's asking, will this still matter when you leave your body? Will this situation, this person, this energy, this job, this thing that you're attached to, will it still matter once you leave your body? So the answer, if the answer is no, then Ketu gradually starts loosen your attachment from it. And sometimes Ketu is known for being a very cutting energy and very fiery energy. It is the hottest planet because it is the part of purification, and fire is the only element that totally purifies. We can pollute air, we can pollute water, we can pollute earth, but we cannot pollute fire. Anything that you throw into the fire just burns it away. So Ketu has this energy of purification that sometimes it could be burning sensation, and it also cuts away things that we no longer need. So Ketu, wherever it transits, can also very fast give you the results of your past lives, or very fast deliver some karma that needs to be delivered. Both good karma, like you win the lotto, or you get a bunch of money, or you get some great blessing, or karma that needed to get paid, where a loss, a detachment needs to happen. So here Ketu is really the path out of samsara, out of the cycle of death and rebirth. And in Vedic philosophy, samsara is the cycle that it keeps repeating and repeating and repeating. And not just in Vedic, but in Buddhism and a lot of other ones that truly go deeper in spirituality, understanding that we are not just these bodies, we are actually souls, eternal souls, and that we just keep changing bodies lifetime after lifetime. So the thing about this cycle of death and rebirth is that it is fueled by the desire, the attachment, the ignorance, and the ego. So the more we're attached in our lifetime, that is what holds us down into this earth. The more we desire, the more we're hankering for things, that pulls us down into the earth more. The ego is the one that represents itself through the achievements and the desires and the accomplishments that it gets. I am these things. I am my house. I am my car. I am my reputation. I am my status. I am my job title. This creates this ahankar, which is like the ego, the false ego. And it is because of ignorance, because we have ignored our soul. We have ignored that there is a more spiritual part of ourselves, that we are not material beings having a material experience. We are soul spirit having a material experience. So Rahu pulls us deeper into samsara. It attaches us even more to the shackles of this material world, while Ketu is pointing towards the liberation, is pointing to how we're going to be able to get out of here, how we're able to transcend all this pain, how we're going to be able to release these attachments that are just holding us down. So this is why Ketu is associated a lot with liberation, with moksha, with spiritual realization, with detachment, with meditation, mysticism, with renunciation and enlightenment. Yes. So the highest expression of Ketu, when we have a really powerful Ketu, then we evolve, and Ketu naturally grants us deep intuition, psychic sensitivity, spiritual wisdom, non-attachment, mystical experiences, inner peace, and divine surrender, which is a fantastic way to transcend all the pains and the sufferings that the material world naturally gives us. Many saints, yogis, mystics, and renunciates have a very strong Ketu influence naturally. So when Ketu becomes a superpower, most people try to fix Ketu. Most people try to run away from Ketu. Most people try to, not be affected by Ketu. But the secret is to actually honor Ketu. Ask yourself, what comes naturally to me? What wisdom have I always carried within myself? And what am I repeatedly drawn towards spirituality? As well as, where do I feel strangely detached from worldly success? Those answers often reveal your Ketu gifts naturally. So Ketu in spiritual growth is very, very strong when we can strengthen and we can, harness that Ketu energy with meditation, silence, devotion, selfless service, pilgrimages, sacred study, and associations with advanced spiritual practitioners. This is when Ketu, does very well. Ketu wants realization. It just doesn't want information. It wants realization. Now, the spiritual side, the shadow side of Ketu, the more darker side of Ketu, when it's imbalanced, is that not all detachment is actually spiritual. And so the imbalance here creates escapism, isolation, spiritual superiority, emotional avoidance, apathy, and cynicism. So Ketu does not reject the world. A true Ketu actually sees the world as a temporary thing while remaining compassionate within. So these are some of the understandings of what Ketu actually signifies in Vedic astrology. Now, let's talk about the remedies for Ketu. How can we strengthen our Ketu and get more of the positive effects of Ketu if your Ketu is badly aspected in a difficult house, in a difficult sign, in a difficult nakshatra? Then we want to first and foremost worship Lord Nrsimha. Worshipping Lord Nrsimha is one of the strongest remedies for Ketu's devotion to Nrsimha, because Nrsimha destroys illusion, fear, karmic blockages, and spiritual confusion. So being, having a deep connection with Nrsimha, which is the form of Krishna that is half lion, half man, this is very, very good for Ketu healing. Also, we can use mantras as well. The mantras are Om Kevate Namaha, Om Ketave Namaha, Om Ketave Namaha. Or you can also do the mantra Om Shram Shrim Shraum Sa Ketave Namaha, Om Shram Shrim Shrau Sa Ketave Namaha, Om Shram Shrim Shrau Sa Ketave Namaha. We always want to do 108 of these mantras, especially if you do it on Tuesdays or Thursdays during the Ketu Hora. It's a wonderful time to heal that Ketu energy as well. Another remedy is, of course, practicing meditation. Meditation is perhaps the greatest remedy for Ketu. Ketu thrives when the mind becomes quiet, when the mind stops hankering, when the mind becomes still. And if we are filled with too much passion and desires and wants and hankerings, and it could be very hard to sit down and meditate, then I highly suggest doing mantras. That could really help in engaging all your senses in saying the mantra, and that could help to empty the mind as well. Also, studying sacred wisdom is very, very good for Ketu. So Ketu loves the Bhagavad Gita, the Bhagavatam, the Upanishads, to live with saints. It loves to read ancient scriptures that talk about spirituality, mysticism. So the purpose is not an intellectual knowledge, but a transformation through what it is that we are reading. Any sacred text will be fantastic, as well as performing selfless service. This is very important because Ketu wants to disintegrate the ego, over excessive ego. So the way that we disintegrate this ego is through selfless service. When you serve without needing recognition, when you serve without needing applause, when you serve without needing money, when you serve without needing anything in return, this is a very spiritual and divine thing. It weakens the ego. The ego is the one that's like, I'm not going to serve. I should be served. I should be served. I should be the person that gets served. Why should I help these people? Why should I give of myself? That's my money. That's my things. That's my, I did this thing and you didn't even recognize it. I did this thing and you didn't even see it. I did this thing and you didn't say thank you. Didn't say this. It's like, this is not selfless service. Selfless service is you do it because it is born out of your heart. Even if the love is not reciprocated immediately, you are enjoying the fact that you can be in this loving state to give and serve, because service itself is a sacred thing. I think it's very interesting that in this era that is very Rahunian, and that we're getting deeper and deeper and deeper into technology, and Rahu's taking over more and more and more of the society. Now with robots, they're going to take away all service jobs. Human beings are not going to be in a state of even servicing each other anymore. And that is going to be a very sad thing for all of us, because it is going to not allow for us to have a time to be selfless and humble and to be of service. But now all the service energy is going to go to robots, while we create more of this entitlement, this ego, and this falsity. Another remedy for Ketu is simplifying your life. Okay, reduce excess consumption, reduce constant stimulation, reduce endless comparison with other people, and release the attachment to a certain status. Ketu flourishes in simplicity, especially in nature. Just have what it is that you need. It doesn't have to be more. This is both a remedy for Rahu and Ketu. So it is more simple life, high thinking is the greatest way to actually live. Now, some of the secrets of Ketu is that most people spend their lives chasing Rahu. Very few learn to honor Ketu. Yet Ketu contains the accumulated wisdom of countless lifetimes. So it is the quiet voice that reminds us that you are not the body, you are not your achievements, you are not your possessions, you are not your social status. You are an eternal soul temporarily passing through this world. So another healing remedy for Ketu is this affirmation. I release attachment to what it is temporary. I trust the wisdom carried within my soul. And I walk the path of truth, devotion, and liberation. Because Ketu's highest gift is not a worldly success. It is the highest gift of enlightenment and awakening. While something that money can't buy, like enlightenment and liberation of this world, you can't buy it. You can purchase it. Another person can't do it for you. You can't pay somebody else to do it for you. Like, it is your own path. So while Rahu helps us to experience the world, Ketu actually helps us to remember that our true home was never in the world to begin with. So very, very powerful energies of Ketu. Now we're going to be going into each individual house for Ketu. Make sure that you check your Vedic astrological chart. You can find out a free Vedic astrological calculator in the description here below. Welcome. If you have Ketu in the first house, then this is going to be for you. Ketu in the first house is definitely a very strong destiny of embodying all the Ketubian energies. And you definitely have a powerful ability to make this your last life. Because if the more you embrace this Ketu energy within your personality, the more you will be able to find that liberation and spiritual liberation. Definitely check out the beginning of the video to understand more of the qualities of Ketu, so that you can understand more how to embrace all of this. When we have Ketu in the first house, this is like a quick changing disposition that you naturally inherit having this. Ketu in the first house makes for people who are naturally renunciate, naturally detached, naturally self-satisfied in a way. You guys have mastered in past lives the identity, the persona, becoming something, being something. You have the great ability to create brands very easily. You can see oh, this is how you define a person, an idea, a business. You are very, very good at these things. And because of this, you have this natural ability to be very self motivated, self assertive. You very independent naturally. You don't necessarily need somebody. Actually, sometimes when you do have a relationship, it may feel like an actual like extra job, like an extra burden. Like it's like, oh my gosh, like now I have to kind of take care of this other person, because you naturally have this ability to just be very self assertive and to handle yourself easily without necessarily needing anybody else. There's no codependencies here, but this does show that in a past life you did die alone. You didn't have attachment to relationships. You could have maybe never gotten married, and there was this sort of solitude energy when you left your body. But there is an amazing ability to really know who you are innately. For some other people, it may take them a while to truly embrace their authenticity, who they are, how they are, to not be swayed by trends or other people. But for you, it's just like, you're like, I know who I am. I know how to go about things, and I know what I represent. And because of this, I've seen actually a lot of well-known people having this Ketu in the first house, who became famous at a very young age because they just knew how to assert themselves. Shakira has this placement. Other celebrities have this placement where they just naturally know how to brand, be different, embrace who they are, and they're not trying to copy or be like anybody else. And this becomes very powerful in their ability. Now, when you have a Ketu that is well aspected in the energies of your chart, then you can get some very favorable results where you seek a very high spiritual destiny. This is part of your life, to really seek a higher, deeper destiny. You would really benefit for being a brahmachari, a renunciate, a monk, living a monk life. You will find it to be very happy. You will find it to be very nice. You will find it that the struggles are not something that faces you. If there's austerities that you have to do, then you do them. If, okay, I have to sleep in the ground, sure. Like it's not something that you're attached to so much comforts or attached to so much things that you need. It just comes natural to you. There's also this energy for efforts are granted towards self-liberation of any form, especially moksha, especially liberation. Like, so taking a very spiritual path in your life is a wonderful way to express this Ketu energy. Also, you're very creative and very action oriented naturally. Okay, your perspective is like that. You don't wait around to see if people may like it or not like it. You don't wait around to see if the trend, what trends are happening. You just do you. You do it. You do you. And it's like, wow, like really, really amazing. I've just seen a lot of natural artists, people who are just very self-assertive, people who have mastered their bodies. Usually Ketu people are thin. I've never seen a very heavyweight Ketu in the first house. They don't have so much of like, I need to be eating, I need to be consuming, I need to be doing. They easily know how to let go of things that is not good for them. And they're very adaptable and ingenious because of this. It's like they were born with this sort of self-confidence that it's like, wow, like, how did you get such a powerful self-confidence? They just know that I can do it, I can make it happen. I don't doubt myself. There's no feelings of doubting. Can I do it? Can I not do it? Am I good enough? Am I worthy enough? You've mastered all these things. And so this is one of the reasons why you could be a great spiritualist, a wonderful spiritualist for sure. Now, when Ketu is badly aspected in a difficult sign, or it's in a debilitated nakshatra, or it's debilitated from the own actions that you've taken, then Ketu can give us some different results here, where many surprises in life. There's many surprises in life where there's a surprise that you lost this, there's a surprise that this ended, there's a surprise that this came to an end. Very difficult in that way. There might be a lot of surprises that are not welcome sometimes when Ketu's in the first house. There's also a reckless or impatience, or a recklessness or imprudent energy in your personal pursuits. because there's so much self-assertion. You sometimes may not take into consideration other people and how other people may feel about it. And this can sometimes also give you problems naturally. There's also a sort of inconsistent efforts. It is important that you finish everything that you start, because the Ketu here can become debilitated with too much detachment to the point that you're not finishing anything that you're beginning. Or your efforts are just scattered all over the place, not open to advice because you are so self-assured. You don't really listen to others. You're like, I know what I want. I know how I want it. However, if you do have a spiritual master, a guru, a teacher that you admire, serving them will be fantastic. And I do see that will be the people that you listen to. But usually you don't listen to other people's advice. You really are like, I know what I'm doing. I do it myself. And I've always done it myself. I don't need nobody. So very, very powerful in that way. Also, if it's negatively aspected, you can be driven by desire to change, always wanting to change things, not sticking to nothing, maybe having an escapist attitude where you just want to escape everything. This could be difficult in your life. Also being unsettled, being impatient, especially impatient with others, unsettled with others. And this is a reason why you sometimes are like, I'm just going to go solo. I'm just going to be by myself. Like, I don't want anybody around. Like, they're just holding me back. They're too needy. They're too annoying. So it can take you into very deep isolations. Hypersensitivity as well. There is this very powerful energy of psychic ability, spiritual ability that your body naturally has. So you could be hypersensitive sometimes with other people, other energies around you, as well as not being satisfied. You get diseases that are difficult to diagnose or that defy conventional healing processes in your body. So that is another thing. It is very important to, maintain health for you. Do not let your body get deteriorated too much. It's almost like, since you know yourself so well and you know your body so well, it's like you can only be the one that actually heals yourself. So it could be difficult to diagnose you or to use any conventional healing modalities with you. Okay, so those are some of the energies that I have found with Ketu in the first people. Those are your messages. I hope that they help. And if you would like to have a specific reading, since this is just a general reading, I highly suggest that you book a consultation with me. In the description here below, you will be able to find the link for that. And if you're interested in learning more about Vedic astrology, I have some workshops pinned in the pinned comment below. See if you would like to join those. Alrighty, those were your messages. Thank you so much for being here. If you like these messages, make sure to give me a like and a hype. And please let me know in the comments, what is your Ketu placement and how has your story been, so that we can all learn together. Now we're going to be doing our beautiful Ketu in the second house. When we have Ketu in the second house, this is an interesting placement, and it could be quite a little bit of a difficult situation. Ketu naturally gets debilitated in Taurus, which is it's the original sign of the second house. So here, it's really taking you away from material life. It shows that in a past life, you had a material mentality. You were very attached to your materials. You were quite superficial, quite materialistic. You had a lot of things. You could have been actually a very rich person, and you die thinking about money. Like, your mind was always about money. So because of this, you have a great ability to make money in your life. You really do. And even if you think it's like, no, I don't have enough, or I don't make money enough, like it might be just like a block that you may have, because in reality, you can, and you have done this before. You have mastered money making in a past life. Now, the thing here is that you just don't get as much pleasure as somebody else. Like, if you go and buy the Coach bag, a normal person may be obsessed with their Coach bag for like 2 weeks, but you, max an hour. You're like, oh, okay, next. And so you can't really get so attached to the pleasures of physical things, of material things, even though before getting them, you may be really hankering for them, wanting them. But then the moment you get them, you're kind of like, eh. So there's this sort of natural detachment that happens with material things. And when you are not so hankering for money, money comes easier to you. But there is this sort of constant thinking about money, constantly thinking about your safety, constantly thinking about how can you stay protected, how can you be safe, how can you make more money, how, if I buy this, if I buy that. And another thing that may happen here is that it's a person who's very, very attached to their habits. So you have an issue, or you have a little bit of a difficulty changing. Changing for you may seem very threatening, any sort of change. And so you kind of stay in your habits for a very long time. Like it's almost like if it's not broken, don't fix it. And there is this sort of energy where you just kind of stay in that vibe for a while, into something intense. Rahu takes you into something intense, something tragic, something out of the comfort zone, and then boom, you have your transformation. But usually there is too much of this attachment to safety through money, safety through buying things. There's also a sort of eating addiction here. So Ketu wants you to kind of control the eating. You will do very well doing like fasts with this Ketu in the second house. So one of the main energies of this Ketu in the second house is actually surprising wealth. Sometimes you do get some big wins, big wealth when Ketu is strong here. So when Ketu is strong here, there's an unusual ability with languages. First and foremost, you have a very unique way of communicating, talking, and there's like almost like this very enchanting voice. I've seen people with Ketu in the second house. You guys could have also been singers in a past life. So singing and your voice and the way that you speak and the way that you express yourself can be very enchanting and can be very mystical naturally. There's also this sort of remarkable speaking ability, a speaking style that you naturally have, not just with speaking, but with singing as well. This is a little bit of a forte. You understand the power of your voice. You understand how to say, how to express, how to take your time, how to make the person move a little bit closer to you. So there's this mastery of your speech that naturally comes here. There's also a liking for exotic or extraordinary foods. So these are my foodies for sure. People here are foodies. You can really enjoy food, really love nice foods, exotic foods especially. Very, very nice. And all of this, Ketu will give these things to you when you do have a strong Ketu in the second house. There's also a spiritually oriented family. You could have come from a family that is very spiritually oriented. Sometimes there might be a very strong attachment to family. You do love your family values, and there's this strong attachment to family. But we need to find a little bit of balance, that you're not just only with your family, but that you also open up to other strangers and other people as well. There's also this, because you may find in your life, it's like, I want to get closer to my family, but something's impeding me, something's not letting me, or they're not liking it, or something happens. And this could be frustrating. So just like, understand that this kind of happens, but it doesn't mean that, like the concept of how you want your family ties to be, you need to be flexible and understand that they might transcend these sort of mental expectations. There's also, you build up finances in peculiar ways as well. And there is sometimes big wins that kind of happen, especially if the Ketu is triggered by aspects or by transits. There might be, wins that kind of come into your life, and abundance that naturally comes into your life when Ketu is strong here. Now, when Ketu is debilitated in the second house by aspects or by sign or by your own actions, then Ketu can get different results. If there's too much focus on materialism and not having enough understanding of the more spiritual side of life. So here it can give you an unsophisticated speech. Instead of being refined, it becomes unsophisticated. It becomes a little bit grotesque. It becomes like weird sounds can happen. Also, there could be ups and downs in your finances when Ketu is kind of not giving you the good results. There could be a lot of ups and downs in finances, which may give you the feelings that you have to hanker for money even more and more and more. But the idea here is just trust it. You've been rich before. Trust it. Trust that the money comes when you are not like chasing it. Also, you may experience that you don't have good money saving skills. This could be affecting you as well, not having the ability to save money, spending money too fast, spending money too quickly. And then there's a lot of losses of money naturally happen with Ketu in the second house. If it's debilitated, there could be a poor studying habits, not being able to focus, not being able to pay attention. Also deceptive. There could be a deceptive energy. Now, this is when Rahu is too taking over on the 8th house and we become deceptive and we are not following those values, especially the values of our spiritual family or a very solid family system. There could also be family relationships become broken when Ketu is not strong enough here in the second house, and there might be frustrations with family in that way. There could also be you don't eat healthfully. You don't eat with like healthy foods. You eat very processed and bad foods, or eats in irregular times. That could also affect your digestion. So I highly suggest, being very impeccable with your food, being very impeccable with how you eat, not eating with technology in front of your food, in front of your plate. Like, really be present with your food. Eat and chew. Don't swallow so fast. Don't eat so fast. Don't overeat. Don't overindulge, like this gluttonous energy. We have to be careful with it because it actually can make your Ketu be worse. There could also be any sort of ailments of the face, where there might be problems in the face, throat, teeth, and general mouth area, and also vision problems, especially your eyes. So Ketu here can bring those issues if our Ketu is not strong. If you're experiencing any of these things, I highly suggest that you check out the remedies at the beginning of the video, because that can really help you in getting more of the positive energies of Ketu in the second house. And those were your messages, Ketu in the second house. I hope that they help. Remember that these are general messages. If you would like to have a specific message, then I highly suggest that you book a consultation with me in the description here below. And if you would like to learn Vedic astrology with me, I have some workshops going on. Check out the pinned comment below to see the workshops that I'm running at this time. And that is all for you. If you like these messages, make sure to give me a like and a hype, and make sure to write in the comments what is your Ketu placement and your experiences with it, so that we can all learn here together. Now we're going to be doing Ketu in the 3rd house. Welcome to anybody who has Ketu in the 3rd house. This is for you if this is your placement. Ketu in the 3rd house is a little bit of a interesting placement. I've seen people here have been in past lives atheists. They've never believed in anything in their past life. Very scientific oriented, very logically oriented. They could have been writers, scientists in past life. And another thing that happens with this Ketu in the 3rd house is this sort of addictive energy towards staying in the same place that you were born. Or it just kind of happens, like living in the same hometown that you've always been in, and everybody in the community, but you don't go beyond this radius of the city or where you were born. So this is a destiny that is trying to get you to open up your mind a little bit more, because you could have been a little bit narrow-minded in a past life. Even though you consider yourself to be very smart, you could have been the smartest person in your village, but then the moment that you get out of the village, you might not be the smartest person in your village. So one thing that I've also seen with Ketu in the 3rd is that there's a lot of people that may suffer from a lot of restlessness, anxiety, and mental sort of distresses, because the mind is addicted to this sort of over endeavoring, over putting effort into things. These are the people that are not lazy at all. When they say they're going to do it, they do it. They're very action oriented, but sometimes they forget about the grace that yes, there's effort, but then there's also grace that is going to come, and that believing sometimes can get us a little bit further than just like, I need to work, endeavor, and when I get the results, then I can say, okay, I'm doing a good job. So here, these energies of Ketu in the 3rd house is to really become masters of your mind. Also, I have seen that people with Ketu in the 3rd house may have this sort of tendency to be a little bit gamester, a little bit of a gamester mentality, where the morals don't apply to you. And so it's almost like, oh, if I don't get caught, then I did great. The trick is to not get caught. You can do whatever you want in this world. Nobody's watching you. God's not watching you. Nobody's watching you. And as long as you get away with it and nobody caught you, then you got away with murder. And that is one of the things that Ketu also, it's teaching you, that it's like you're such a witty person. You're such a witty person. Your mind is so fast that your mind is kind of a little bit of a criminal mind, where it just finds like the easy way out, the fastest way, the way to cut corners, the way to cut the things. And you can be the only one who outwits yourself. You are the only one who can be like, no, we're doing it right. We're doing it the correct way. We're not going to cheat. We're not going to do all these things. So that has to be only with you. Now, also the third house here, we see an unbounded determination. So yes, your determination is so strong. So when Ketu's positive here in the third house, we get a lot of good results, like adaptable to any circumstance. You are definitely adaptable. You're definitely very skilled. You're definitely very good with your body, good with your dexterity. These are like Charlie Chaplin had this aspect. Jim Carrey has this aspect. So they're like master pretenders and copycats. They can like morph their face and like move their bodies in certain ways that not everybody can. They're masters at these things. Also very daring. You have very strong, courageous energy that you've mastered in past lives. And so in this lifetime, you're very daring. You are ready for adventure and challenges at any time. You are ready for going for it. It's very go-getter energy, which is one of the beautiful things about the Ketu in the third house. There's also an energy where you just face challenges, like, okay, let's do it. Let's get it done. We can make this happen. I'll throw myself in the water and learn how to swim as I go. There's also a very flexible outlook on life. You're not very set in a certain way. Like, you're very flexible in how you see life, very quick to master a multitude of pursuits. Yes, that's another thing. You can do many things at once, but you have to be careful, because this can also bring a lot of anxiety and restlessness. So try to control a little bit of that. But yes, you can do two things at once. You're very dexterous. You can just finish everything that you start. That is the most important. And also accomplishes things very quickly. You're like the MacGyver of the zodiac. It's just like you grab like a gum and a string and a fork, and then you created a gun. Like, you're just so inventive, so resourceful when Rahu is in the third house. There's also very likely liking for artistic expression. Your artistic expression is on point. Your ability to learn and adapt to certain things, like you just learn things very fast. You learn things very quickly. You are very agile, especially with your hands. You're not a dumb person at all. You're just like, your mind is super fast, super sponge-like. You learn things so quickly. These are some of the beautiful gifts that Ketu in the third house really gives us. You're very mimic, as I mentioned, master mimic for sure. Very funny in that way as well. Also very chameleon. You can shift, you can body shift, you can change the way you move, the way you present yourself, the way you, very animated. This is a person who's very animated with their bodies, as well as you can make friends with anyone and anything. You talk to everybody, you interact with your immediate environment. You're not shy. There's not this shyness about you. You are very open to the world and very ready to make friends, especially in your neighborhood. The whole neighborhood may know you. All the people in the stores and the owners of the stores may know you. You are that person that just naturally, can talk to everybody and everything. Now, when Ketu is in a difficult position, in a difficult sign, debilitated, or having difficulties with the own actions that we've taken, then it can give different results here. And we can experience a lack of determination, where now it goes into the other side. We're not determined to finish anything and start anything. We become inconsistent. We become too fragmented. We become very tricky, where we want to cheat and cut corners. You may try to do too much at once, and this starts giving you anxiety, and it starts giving you a sense of restlessness. Also, poor at setting their expectations with others. You may have problems with this, as well as problems with your siblings and neighbors. There might be this very strong attachment to your siblings that you're learning to you're learning to release it. Like, you can be an amazing brother and amazing sister, but you don't have to take on their life. I feel like when I watch the show, the Saul show, You Better Call Saul, which is like about this lawyer and his brother and the brother karma. Like, it just seems so Ketu in the third house. So sometimes you may find that you have like this brother karma, this sibling karma, but you learn to kind of liberate yourself from those things. You can still be there. You can still be a great brother, but it might not be exactly how you pictured it to be. Also, there might be this energy of mental imbalances. These are my people that we need to take a hold of our minds. We need to take a hold of our minds, and that's with a lot of philosophy, a lot of religion, a lot of moral, a lot of reading scriptures, finding good teachers, because it's like your mind has to be put in its place. If not, it becomes like this neurotic person, and nobody can understand you. You can't even understand yourself, and it goes into these mental illnesses very easily, mental disbalances. Ear and hearing problems can happen here. Also, ailments or damage to the neck. Got to be very careful with your neck. Also, shoulders, arms, and hands, and respiratory conditions and skin troubles can also happen here with Ketu in the third house. So if you're experiencing any of these unfavorable things, I highly suggest that you do the remedies at the beginning of the video. That can really help you in bringing more balance to your Ketu. Also, these are your messages. Thank you so much for being here. And remember that these are general messages. If you would like to have a specific message to your situation, then I highly suggest that you book a one-on-one consultation with me. In the description here below, you will be able to book one today. And if you would like to learn Vedic Astrology with me, check out the workshops that I'm hosting in the pinned comment below as well. And those are your messages, Ketu in the third. If you like them, make sure to give me a like and a hype. And make sure to leave us in the comments what is your Ketu placement, so that we can all cheer you on. Those are your messages, my beautiful Ketu in the third. Hope that they help. And now we're going to be doing Ketu in the fourth. Welcome to anybody who has a Ketu in the fourth house. If you have Ketu in the fourth house, then this is for you. When we have a Ketu in the fourth house, this shows that we've mastered in a past life motherhood, being in the home matters, home family, very strong attachment to the nation, your nation you were born. And the main thing, very, very strongly attached to creating a comfort zone. Ketu here gives you the gift of being very empathetic. These are the people who can feel so deeply for others, very empathetic, very loving, natural counselors. You have the ability to just feel what others feel, to be there for others, and to just really nurture people in ways that not everybody else can do it. You know how to listen to your emotions, and you know how to feel them. Now, the thing about it, though, is that sometimes it can get a little bit overboard, and this is where you have to be cautious. There might be a little bit of an overboard attachment to the home country, to the mother, to the home, to the family, to the comfort zone. The comfort zones may be so intense to the point that even when the comfort zone has become uncomfortable, you still don't get out of it. People that have this Ketu in the fourth house, I highly suggest that you do need to get out of the house. It is crucial that you force yourself out of the house, because if not, you can literally stay locked up in the house all the time, especially if it's comfortable, and if it's like everything's in its place and perfect, you can literally stay there all the time. So Ketu in the fourth house also pulls us away from our home country as well. I've seen many times that people who have Ketu in the fourth, you end up not living where you were born. You move away from your hometown, you move away from your home country, and you may also be pulled away from your mother as well. There could be a deep attachment to mother, or maybe your mother wasn't what you wanted her to be, and then you're like, but why? I always wanted to have a deep relationship with my mom. Why can we have that beautiful relationship with my mom? So I've seen a lot of people also have been orphans as well when they have this Ketu in the 4th house, and it is actually in the favor to help you actually make a name for yourself with the Rahu in the 10th. So it is not that, you came to never have a family, you came to never have a mother figure. Yes, you can heal all these wounds, but also understanding that it's trying to detach you from your comfort zone, because your comfort zone is not allowing you to truly grow. These are the people that could feel like a Peter Pan syndrome for the rest of their life, where they're just like, when am I going to grow up? These people also look young all the time. They have a youthful disposition for a long time, and they might dress like children. They might dress very youthful throughout their whole life. So Ketu in the 4th house is very interesting. This is definitely the versatile emotions. Here we have a versatile of emotions. When we have a strong Ketu in the 4th house, Ketu gives us some amazing results where we are emotionally pliable. This is the mastery, when it's like, okay, I can feel my emotions, I can be emotionally intelligent, but I don't have to be in the ocean of emotion, crying and distress and in all these emotions. It's like you learn to be emotionally intelligent, where I don't have to repress my emotions. I don't have to be scared of my emotions. I don't have to go to extremes of I'm feeling so much I can't stop crying to like I'm going to be stoic and never feel my emotions. It's like coming to the middle ground where, yes, I can feel. I'm feeling all the feels and I'm letting it go and I'm transmuting it. This is becoming that master of emotions. Also, there is very adjusts to changes in domestic life easier when you have a strong Ketu in the 4th house. You adapt to the changes in the home sector. So even if it means changing homes, finding a better situation for yourself, you know how to adapt to this. But the ability is that you don't stay in an uncomfortable living situation for a very long time. Also, it gives you educated in unusual subjects. You have very interesting education here, and you may like very interesting off-the-wall topics. There could also be this sort of spiritual base in your life where you want your life to be in the base of the spiritual energy. You want your home to kind of have that temple energy, that spiritual energy. These people get good with having a little shrine in their home. This could be very nice, wanting to have peace in the house, wanting to have like that spiritual Shakti inside the house for sure. There also develops curious emotional ties. So you may have some deep attachments to certain people, but you're learning to also, not be swayed so much by your emotions. You're learning to become a master of your emotions and not be thrown off, because when you get too emotional, then like your career suffers as well. So it's like finding the balance here with that. Now, when the Ketu is badly aspected in a difficult position, in a difficult nakshatra, or just not acting good because of your own actions, then we can find other types of predictions here where you may also be sensing changes, resilience, or lives in remote regions. You may live in conditions that are not very nice. And so it's important for you to, yes, build a home that you're not attached to, make your home nice and comfortable, that you're not constantly attached to, but that it's there and that it's harmonious and it's very spiritual. Also, you can be experiencing early separation from the mother when Ketu is negative here. There could be this separation. Also, it seems disconnected. You may seem emotionally disconnected from yourself. You may have repressed your emotions so much that now you don't know what to feel. There might be this numbness about your feelings. Also, lacks lasting personal emotional ties. The personal emotional ties don't stick here when Ketu is negative. There could also be very nervous. A broken education can happen as well. and also problems or accidents with vehicles. So it is also important to take care of your vehicles. It is also important to, maintain your vehicle. Don't let it get too Ketubian where there's like garbage bags in the car, like windows that are broken. So they put like a black garbage bag and like the bumper's almost falling and like it's rickety, it's old, it hasn't been taken care of, it hasn't been washed. Inside the car is like a mess. Like this makes your Ketu worse. So maintain a nice car, maintain the nice house. Don't let it get all disheveled. There could also be irregular heartbeats sometimes with Ketu in the 4th house. So we want to take care of our hearts and our cardiovascular energy. Surgery on the breast or chest area as well can happen when we have Ketu in the 4th house here. Natural energy that can affect our chest. So Ketu is giving us the ability to, release these comfort zones so that we can go more into exploration, but also utilizing our great empathy and ability to tap into our unique emotions here. Those are your messages. If you have Ketu in the 4th house, I hope that they help. And remember that these are general messages. If you would like to have a specific message to your situation, then I highly suggest that you take advantage and book a consultation with me in the description here below. In the description, you will find the link for it. Those were your messages for people who have Ketu in the 4th house. If you would like to learn Vedic astrology with me, I have workshops going on right now. You can see what workshops I have in the pinned comment below. And those were your messages, Ketu in the 4th. Hope that they help. And if you like them, make sure to give me a like and a hype. And also make sure to leave me a comment with your Ketu placement and how has this shown up for you so that we can all learn from each other. Those were your messages. And now we're going to be doing Ketu in the 5th house. Welcome to anybody who has Ketu in the 5th house. Ketu in the 5th house, this is for you. When we have Ketu in the 5th house, that means that our Rahu is in the 11th house. Ketu in the 5th house usually shows a very unbounded intellect. Okay, you're very intellectual, you're very smart. Usually these people have come from a background of being famous in a past life, being kings or queens, or being very very intelligent, known for their intelligence, known for their talents. They could have also been famous athletes. So there's a sort of energy here where you are very willed. You definitely have this very strong will. Where, you say you're going to do it, you do it. And to the point that sometimes you may think you're a god. Oh, I can do it all. I can make it happen all. Like, watch me and I'll do it. So these people go through a lot of humbling in their lives. Ketu here is trying to show you, like, yes, you're very capable, you're very willed, you're very powerful, you're very strong, you're very intelligent, you're very talented. You have all these beautiful qualities, but we cannot make your life just about your applause and just about you only. It is a lifetime for you to be the representative of something bigger, for you to be the representative of a community or something selfless. You're learning to master your egocentric behavior, selfishness, and to tap more into this selfless energy. To learn to not be so attached where you're like, okay, yes, I want this, I'm going for this, but I don't have to hurt myself getting there. I don't have to force it. I don't have to have it now. If I don't get it now, then I'm upset. It's like, no, everything is divine timing. Everything takes time. And the more you kind of start releasing your ego and your attachments, the faster all those things that you want come into your life. These are also master romantic people. Like, these people have master romance in a past life. And you've been in so many romantic relationships in past lives that you know very well how to flirt, how to make the heartbeat go fast, how to enchant somebody, how to use your charisma. But the thing here is that if it becomes too intense to the point that now we're fighting and we're in drama all the time, like, this is again a toxic pattern that you're meant to also release. That learning how to bring a little bit more friendship within your romantic relationships is going to be something healthier. So here with the Ketu in the 5th house, we have unbounded intellect. And when we have a positive Ketu is giving us positive energy, and it's well balanced and it's favorable, it's actually going to give us the benefit from scriptural knowledge. You guys can definitely tap into scriptural knowledge and memorize verses, be very smart. You have this natural sort of wisdom that can come to you. It's like using your will for mastering spiritual topics, or using your will for tapasya and spiritual practices and sadhana. That is a wonderful way to utilize that will. The idea here is to align your will with God's will. That it's not just I want to be famous and I want to be the superstar and I want to get what I want, but learning how to use your great talents, power, and will into the divine calling that God has for you. There's also practices of spiritual techniques that can be very, very good for you. Mantra chanting can be fantastic for you. Also, liking for unusual amusements. So there is an energy of fun. There is a lot of passion within you that you're learning to tame and direct it into the right things. There's also feels a spiritual love for others, a transcending sort of spiritual love for others when Ketu is well aspected here. And you also have a spiritual destiny carried over from a past life when we have this Ketu in favorable placement in the 5th house. Now, when it is badly aspected in a negative energy or in a difficult sign, or just it's reacting differently from the actions that you're taking, then we can be experiencing broken or unfulfilling romantic love. This can happen very, very often when we have this Ketu in the 5th house. And again, it's because it's all this sort of drama, a lot of drama. We may move into romantic relationships way too quickly without necessarily creating that friendship before we jump into bed. And so it creates a lot of drama. You're not supposed to be in drama, in romance. That's already showing you that this is not the right way to go about it. There could also be a lot of dishonesty when Ketu is badly aspected in the 5th. Also bursts of attention. You want attention on you. You want it to be about you. You want, like, it might be always like, well, what about me? Oh, it's because of me. It's because of me. Like always kind of making it about you. There could be too much pride that comes here and disrupts your ability to move forward. So pride also has to be purified. There could also be poor results with speculation. If you are in any speculative businesses or speculative stock market, Ketu badly aspected here, I would say be very cautious because it can give you the negative results from this. If it's in a good energy, it can give you some good results from speculative business. Now, mental problems, especially from some say from spirits, some say from certain energies around. So make sure that you're not getting, and I will say that a lot of this is coming because of this over prideful sort of egoic mind. Because if you were special in a past life, if you were some king or queen or a VIP person, then there's this sort of thing where you come into this world feeling like, okay, like I'm supposed to have a special treatment in my life. And so you're learning to let go of this like special snowflake syndrome and understand that no, it's not just about you. Like everybody else is special too. Like you're special just like everybody else is also special. And it doesn't make you any different. You're also learning how to not always be in this hierarchy where you're like, I see myself above people or I see myself below people. It's like, no, we're equals. I see myself equal to you. And that's why, people who are famous, people who are VIP, they have a lot of issues finding who they can really trust, who's really their friends, and they might never understand what true friendship actually means because we don't know if this person's hanging out with me because I'm famous or this person's hanging out with me because they want something from me or because they're afraid of me. So that is some of the qualities here with Ketu in the 5th. We can also experience any sort of trouble with children where either you don't have any children or there's troubles with children or your children are very detached from you. So this could be a difficulty of a badly aspected Ketu. in the 5th house. There's also problems with authorities, especially regarding taxes. So be careful with all your taxes, as well as restless in meditation. You can't sit down to meditate. You can't sit down to focus. You can't sit down and learn more about spiritual topics. This makes you more anxious. And also any heart ailments or poor indigestion can happen when we have negative Ketu in the 5th house. If you're experiencing any of these things, then I highly suggest you check out the remedies at the beginning of the video, because that can really help you in balancing out this Ketu and bringing more of the favorable qualities of Ketu in your life. Now, those are your messages. And remember that these are general messages. If you would like to have a specific message to your situation, then I highly suggest that you book a one-on-one session with me. In the description here below, you will be able to find the link. And those were your messages. If you would like to also learn Vedic astrology with me, check out the workshops that I'm currently running in the pinned comment below, so that you can be part of those. And those are your messages. If you like these messages, make sure to give me a like and a hype, and also let us know in the comments what is your Ketu placement, so that we can all learn from you and the experiences that you've had. Now we're going to be doing Ketu in the 6th house. Welcome to anybody who has Ketu in the 6th house. This is for you. People who have a Ketu in the 6th house is definitely a powerful energy. It is a little bit of a difficult placement, but overall, you are somebody who has mastered the ability to fix anything. I mean, you are the problem solver. You are a powerful problem solver, where you just know how to fix, you just know how to redeem, you know how to save. You are such an amazing problem solver that literally you solve the problems of everybody. And everybody knows that they can call you up at any time and you will show up with the solution. Well, this is very powerful. There is this sort of energy of like not being able to rest. Maybe resting makes you feel a little bit guilty, because in many past lives, it shows that you've always been of service. You've always been doing, you've always been in some sort of service. Either you were a doctor, or you were in the military, or you were always in something where you're servicing everybody else, helping everybody else. And so because of this, you are not lazy. You're definitely doing things, many things at once. Some of you guys, I've seen a lot of people with Ketu in the 6th house being quite addicted to caffeine, because they want to finish so many things. Like they're like the ones who follow their to-do list to the T. And you have to have schedules lined up so that you can finish everything that you do. So you love to be on top of everything. You love to have your ducks in a row. You love to be able to just keep everything in place. But sometimes if this is not balanced, it can lead to a lot of exhaustion. These are the people that I feel that have a deep, deep like exhaustion within their soul. Like these people are tired, because for many lifetimes you've been on the go, you've been on a call, you've always been doing, helping. It's like the doctors that are always on call. Sometimes they can't even rest. So you have this energy, this very powerful energy, but life is really trying to help you balance it out. It's not just being how productive can I be in every single day of my life, but finding out that sometimes meditating, sleeping well is also part of being productive. That if you don't take rest, that if you don't let go, then you eventually also get sick. And this happens as well. This is like the only way that God can put you to just stop moving so much, stop doing so much, is that it has to get you sick. And then when you're sick in the bed, then you're like, oh my gosh, I can't do anything. I have to just sit here and be. And that could be according to where you are in your spirituality, it can feel quite the anxiety. So you're learning how to say no, how to let go, and truly understand that there's just some things that are just not fixable. Your mind may be like, no, there's a way. But when you're dealing with other people and other people don't want to fix it, you have to be able to let it go. You have to just be able to let it go. Also, if you're fixing everything for everybody, you're stealing them from their ability to actually learn something. So these are the people that need to learn how to say no to certain favors, because you might be actually enabling and hindering more than the other person, than actually helping them. So when we have this Ketu in the 6th house, we have an adaptable defender. You are very adaptable at defending and fixing and organizing. There when Ketu here is favorable, you get a lot of good energy, like being very versatile, being very ingenious. You are the problem solver. You know how to fix things. You deal well with any ambiguity or any sort of conflict. You know how to win the battle. You know how to like not let it get to you. You deal very well under stress. When there's like a lot of things to do with a lot of pressure, you become stronger. You fight better. So there is this sort of very powerful innate warrior in that you have harnessed from many lifetimes. Very intuitive and very extraordinary approach to solving problems. And everybody knows that you have this gift for sure. You are also very successful in conflict resolution. You fix conflicts. You fix things. Like you could have also been a lawyer in a past life. So you just fix the issues, fix the problems, fix the conflicts, fix the disharmony very easily. And you don't get thrown off if the pressure's on, if the enemies are there, if they're, putting pressure on you. No, you actually work even better and come out on top most of the time. You're very resilient in this way, like just very resilient naturally. You win battles by subtle means sometimes, where you don't even have to lift a finger and you just kind of win the battles when Ketu is strong in the 6th house. Also, you earn through teaching spiritual knowledge or providing service of a spiritual nature. This is the main thing. If you're able to provide a service in a spiritual nature or with spiritual knowledge, then you really are tapping into the beautiful axis of this Rahu and Ketu in the 12th and the 6th. But the idea is that you kind of move away so much from just fixing the material and tap more into, diving into the spiritual. Why? Because there could be this sort of addiction to like just fixing the body and not tapping into the spiritual side of life. And you have a very strong spiritual side of life, but you may sometimes get so caught up in the to-do list that you're like, oh, I don't have time to meditate. I have so many things to do. I'm so busy all the time. But when you make time for these meditations, when you make time to sleep better, when you make time for rest, then you become even more powerful, stronger, and more productive. Yes, your boss benefits from you going to the spa, getting that massage, because the next day you're going to show up so much more refreshed and so much more better to work with. Now, when Ketu has a negative energy, negative aspect, negatively aspected, a difficult sign, then it can give different results, or just by the actions that we take. So if we see this, then the unfavorable energies can be that in and out of conflicts a lot. You just finish fixing a problem and now you immediately take on something else instantaneously, and you don't really get to enjoy that moment of peace where you can scratch it off your list and say, oh, it's finally done. I never have to think about that ever again. This is very important. Also, you can get into debts, into foreseeing losses, and into any mental instability. This is also a very strong mental house. So these are my warriors, my incessant warriors. I'm worrying about this, I'm worrying about that, I'm worrying about this other thing. Be careful with these energies when Ketu is in the 6th house. Also, very bizarre dreams. Your dreams can be very strong, very bizarre, very powerful, but sometimes even predictive dreams, like prolific dreams. So I would really suggest for you to write down your dreams, because your dreams really could be talking to you all the time. Some of you guys may suffer from sleepwalking or talking in your sleep as well. Also, you could be afraid of the unknown, afraid to let go, afraid to release, afraid to say no. Some of you guys may be highly afraid of any sort of psychedelics, especially. It could be very terrifying for you. You may feel like, oh my God, what if I never come back? What if I leave my body? And it's like there's a part of you that wants to discover the spiritual side of life, but you may be like super attached to like, okay, I'm physically here. This is real. I'm present here. So that's a disbalance here with Ketu in the 6th house. Actually, you guys would really do benefit from tapping a little bit more into some spiritual topics and spiritual realms to learn more here. Also, there could be some accidents, unstable or delicate health. constantly being in sort of problems and problem fixing, and it's like the never ending cycle of these things. There could also be exotic diseases, parasites, rashes. You definitely should be doing a lot of detoxes, cleansing your body, staying away from any unhealthy health patterns, too much caffeine, too much overstimulation of your nervous system. It's good for you to have times of just full relaxation, that your lifestyle is a little bit more spiritual. It will be very, very good for you. Also, diseases are difficult to diagnose and are often of a psychic or spiritual origin. So it's not that your body has some issue. It's more like a somatic thing, a spiritual thing, a psychic thing. So again, that's why learning more about the spiritual realm can be something very, very good for you. It really completes everything here for you. It wants your daily life to be led more in the spiritual topics than just like over exercising this productivity and this ability to constantly be fixing issues and problems. So those were your messages for anybody who has a Ketu in the 6th house. If you've been experiencing any of these negative symptoms with Ketu in the 6th house, then I highly suggest that you check out the remedies at the beginning of the video. That could really help you in bringing more balance to your Ketu here. And those are your messages. If you like them, make sure to give me a like and a hype, and leave us in the comments what is your Ketu placement. If you're interested in a reading with me, since these are general messages, then check out the description below for the link. And also, if you're interested in learning Vedic Astrology with me, check out the pinned comment with the workshops that I'm running at this time. So those were your messages. Thank you so much for being here. Ketu in the 6th house. And now we're going to be doing Ketu in the 7th house. For you, Ketu in the 7th house, this is the variable of relationships. When we have a Ketu in the 7th house, it definitely shows that there is a little bit of addiction to relationships if it's not controlled with a little bit of the Rahu energy. There could be an energy where we're jumping from relationship to relationship. We feel incomplete without a relationship. We may have these fears of being alone, fears of not having a person around us, fears of not having some sort of relationship with us. And what happens here is that this person has mastered relationships in a past life. And so it's coming to learn a little bit of more balance of independence within the relationship, interdependence within the relationship, without losing themselves completely within a relationship. Yes, they have the mastery of diplomacy. They have the mastery of understanding what the other person may need out of them. But the problem here is that if we start sacrificing your own personal needs for your partner, for the other person, and you start abandoning yourself, where maybe you put your things that you love last, where you are putting the other person before you too much, then what happens here is that Ketu makes you get detached from these relationships, and then relationships may not last as much as you want them to last. So there's something here of a disbalance within relationships where either we want to jump from relationship to relationship. I've seen polyamorous. I've seen people that can, they need to have more than one relationship, or they just need to always be with a relationship. Not being alone enough could be detrimental for this Ketu in the 7th house. So with this variable relationships, if Ketu is actually well aspected and it's in a good balance and it's giving you good results, it can give you good results where you have a spiritual partner and could motivate the person to go into a spiritual journey to in interests that are not the normal interests or different, or to take you to different places. So that is one of the best things here, is that your relationship is meant to be a spiritual relationship. If the relationship is superficial, if the relationship doesn't have a spiritual connotation to it, if the relationship is just for sex, or just like, I don't want to be alone, I just want to have a person next to me, then the relationship suffers. So here Ketu is asking for you to actually have a deeply spiritual relationship. Usually there could be a relationship from a past life that comes into your life, but if you want a lasting relationship, it has to be more on the basis of we're coming together to serve God, we're coming together to have a spiritual goal together, we put God in the middle of our relationship, and we have these spiritual practices on a daily basis. This is the one thing that can definitely give good results for the 7th, Ketu in the 7th. Also, it gives you ingenious business strategies when you have a good Ketu in the seventh. You have a natural knack for knowing how to manage business, for knowing how to take care of clients, for knowing what it is that the public needs from you. And so there could be this ability to step into that and utilize it in the right ways. Also, there could be does business in an unusual locales. So like where you conduct your business can be very unusual, can be very different, not the usual norm situation. So there is this sort of uniqueness about your business and how you go about business and how you go about clientele, because the seventh house is the house of clients and it's the house of the marketplace. And so there's a unique way that you go about your business here. Also, there's a partner that is flexible and innovative, okay? And that is the type of partner that you need. You cannot have a partner that is forcing you to do what they want you to do all the time, and you have to constantly be sacrificing your needs and wants because you need to make your partner happy. So it's important to have a partner that is flexible, a partner that is not afraid that you want to do things alone, that you want to have your own space, that you want to, assert yourself in the ways that you want to assert yourself, and actually a partner that encourages you to step more into that individuality, to step more into that self-assertion, and that they don't become intimidated by this. So the Ketu in the seventh house is definitely a little bit of an intricate thing with relationships, for sure. Most of the time I've seen too much relationships, and the relationships keep falling apart because there's no spiritual connotation to them. But the moment that you do find a spiritual partner, a partner who's deeply spiritual, who also takes you into deeper spirituality, who leads you into connecting more with God, then this relationship really lasts in your life. Now, if Ketu is not favorable, in a bad sign, badly aspected, and is just not giving you good results because of your own personal actions, you could be experiencing things like being unstable, being ailing, or unreliable partner. It's like a partner that is just constantly unstable, that is all over the place, that you cannot count on them. So it gives you lots of headaches and disturbances in your life because of the partnerships that you may have. It could also give you unable to maintain a committed relationship. It's always breaking up, coming back into another relationship, and so on and so on and so on, and constantly repeating this sort of cycle. It could also be a reckless or inconsistent in forming agreements and contracts with others. So it is very important that you do maintain your commitments, and that's why it's important that you don't say yes to everybody and everything. Being more specific with the commitments that you really want to take on, commitments that are not going to put you in situations where you have to constantly sacrifice yourself. Another thing that I have seen with the Ketu in the seventh house is that can make you a people pleaser, where it's at your own detriment, trying to please everybody, and the diplomacy becomes too much to the point that you're not actually expressing yourself. There could be this fear of actually being saying what you really feel, or like really establishing what it is, because you're constantly thinking like, oh, but they're not gonna like it, or I'm gonna ruin the relationship, or they're gonna start acting differently with me. And this is an illusion. Like, the illusion is that no, people start treating you worse because you are too much of a people pleaser, instead of actually being more assertive on your own individuality and saying how it is, and being more assertive in the things that you want. And you can do this without necessarily being aggressive. You can do this in a very diplomatic way. And you will learn that people actually end up respecting you even more because of that. Also, if there's badly aspected, Rahu can also give you a surprise by the advent of reproductive or venereal diseases. So you have to constantly be taking care of your your reproductive system, making sure that, again, sleeping with too many partners, being with too many partners, like, you have to be very cautious with this, because it can give STDs or problems in venereal diseases or reproductive diseases. Inconsistent libido or vitality can also happen here. So again, mastering the body, having a balance with the Rahu, becoming more of a master of your body, working out, moving your body. All of these things are going to help balance Ketu in the 7th house, as well as it can swing high and low in your moods as well. You can be very manic and then very depressed. So finding that middle ground, finding that harmony within. And also tired from constant traveling. There could be a lot of movement, a lot of traveling, and travels can sometimes get to you if there's just too much of it. So there is some benefits here as well as some difficulties. So if you're experiencing any of the difficulties with the Ketu in the 7th house, then I highly suggest that you check out the remedies at the beginning of the video. Do some of those remedies so that you can get more of the benefits for your Ketu in the 7th house, especially if you've been having issues with relationships, not finding the right relationship. Definitely do the remedies in the beginning of the video. So those were your messages for people who have Rahu in the 7th house. I hope that they help. Love you guys so much, and remember that these are general messages. If you would like to have a specific message to your situation, then I highly suggest that you book a consultation with me in the description here below. If you want to learn Vedic astrology with me, I have some workshops going on. You can check them out in the pinned comment below. And those were your messages. So if you like them, make sure to give me a like and a hype, and leave us a comment in the comment section. Tell us where is your Ketu and tell us your story about it so that we can all learn together. Now we're going to be doing Ketu in the 8th house. When we have Ketu in the 8th house, this is actually a pretty good placement. Ketu becomes exalted in the sign of Scorpio, and Scorpio is the original sign of the 8th house. So here it makes you highly spiritual, mystical. You were definitely some sort of psychic in your past life, somebody who had a very strong intuition in your past life, somebody who was able to gain the trust of others to the point that maybe you become a master manipulator as well. So here Ketu is very, very spiritually powerful and has the ability to navigate through pains and tribulations and traumas in life. Ketu here helps you to not get too caught up with your fears and with the traumas of life. Now, because of this, there could also be a little bit of an addiction to shadow work. I've seen a lot of people who are just like highly addicted to like constantly being in the shadow work, constantly being in the healing, constantly being in the healing. You can naturally be a very powerful healer for others, but eventually, you know, your soul gets tired of just always being in like, I'm fixing traumas, I'm fixing, pains, I'm fixing these fears, I'm fixing these traumatic things in my life, constantly in this healing energy, constantly working through my shadows, constantly helping other people work through their shadows. This could be quite draining. So there could be a sort of subconscious feeling to like attracting trauma in your life, not taking away, you're not unvalidating all the traumas that you've been through. And of course, you deserve what you feel and how you want to feel about them, of course. But all I'm saying is that Ketu in the 8th sometimes wants to live in this sort of intense, chaotic sort of situation. Like if things are too calm, too stable, it's almost like, no, I have to put the wrench in the situation and just make things move because it's just too stable, too grounded. So there is a little bit of this sort of addiction to like surviving, to changes, to constant transformations, to constantly doing shadow work, and to constantly being in this sort of trauma state constantly. So that's something that you have to catch on yourself here. Yes, you can manage it. Yes, you can handle it. Yes, you can navigate it so well. But your Rahu in the 2nd house is really trying to get you to be a little bit more grounded, consistent, and to kind of walk the narrow path where you don't necessarily have to be in the dark, shadowy places to kind of have a little bit more of a boring life. It may seem boring, but it's actually safe and consistent. There could be a little bit of addiction here with taboos, all things that are taboo, sex. There could be addictions to sex here with Ketu for sure. A lot of sexual energy. Some of the charts that I have seen, especially in women, is that they may suffer from like not, like relying on sexuality to get their means. That sexuality is kind of like their way of making money. Because Rahu here is trying to make you to become more confident in yourself and your talents, where you don't necessarily have to use the power of sex to manipulate and to get your way and to get the things that you want. But you are very seductive. You have mastered the art of sex. You have mastered the art of seduction and how to, like, you know, take power over others with this sexual Shakti. So Ketu in the 8th house is definitely a mystical knowledge seeker. This is the good part of the Ketu in the 8th house, is going more towards the spiritual side of life, the mystical side of life, that can lead you into more morality, into more consistency and safety, more of a sattvic lifestyle, not so much of the tantra, white tantra, black tantra, red tantra. No, because that's like using magic to manipulate the material world. It's more like transcending that and, you know, respecting the spiritual world, not to manipulate it to get something out of it. So here there is a very strong mystical knowledge. So when Ketu is strong and it's favorable, it can give you some really good results, like the ability to comprehend subtle and esoteric knowledge for sure. This comes to you very, very easy. Also likes to uncover hidden things. You are a master detective. You're a master researcher. You may love astrology. You may love psychology. You may love occultism, and you may love conspiracy theories. And you're a great researcher in all these things naturally. There's also, you get money suddenly through unseen forces, unseen sources. This can give you money out of nowhere because this is other people's monies and monies that you haven't earned. So there's also a capability of just, you know, I don't know, where you get an inheritance and boom, you get a bunch of money, or insurance claims, boom, and you get a bunch of money. So it kind of happens when there's a good aspect going on here or a good transit. It can give you a sudden wealth out of nowhere that you didn't work for. There could also be an energy where you benefit from solitude. You benefit from having some time alone for yourself. There's a benefit for you for this. And also very clever at getting money or support from other people. And people just naturally kind of trust you. They kind of naturally trust you with their things, their stuff. And you are somebody who knows how to not abuse that, how to, you know, not take advantage of that. So people do trust this in you. However, it is a part of you that really wants to make your own money, that really wants to be able to be self-sufficient, because there could have been many lifetimes where you lived out of other people's monies, and you always felt like they had power over you because you never made your own money. People who have this Ketu in the 8th, I've also seen that they come from wealthy families that they naturally get inheritance, they naturally get trust fund babies and things like this, Nepo babies, and it's like they come with abundance from their family, but they might always feel like, oh, but my dad controls me because he's the one who pays for my things, or my mom controls me because she's the one who has the money. And so there is always this sort of struggle with like, okay, I could rely on the money that my parents give me or somebody else gives me, but I wish I can make my own money. I wish I can create my own abundance. I wish I can create my own power where I call the shots because I'm the one making the money and it's my money. So this is the balance and that you're learning how to manage. When Ketu is badly aspected in the 8th house, and it can give you negative results because of the placement or the sign or the aspects or just because of your own actions, then Ketu can be giving you unfavorable energies like depends on others. So there's this dependence on others, dependence on other people's things, and you're always kind of scavenging for like, how am I, instead of trying to figure out how to make your own money, you're like trying to figure out how you're going to win the lotto, or like get other people to pay for your stuff, or like how are you going to talk to daddy or mommy to give you what you want. So that could also be a thing where there's this dependence when Ketu is debilitated here. You may be treated disrespectfully because there's a lack of integrity. Rahu wants to take you more into this integrity and more into this confidence in yourself. So there could be a treatment of disrespectfully. Like I mentioned, there could be a sort of addiction to abuse. It's not like you want to be abused. It's not like you're calling to be abused, but it's like there's like this allowing others to abuse you because you can do the shadow work, because you can handle the darkness of other people and things like this. So it's like learning how to have self-respect and be like, no, you're not going to abuse me, and I'm not going to stay in this cycle of abuse or somebody who's abusing me. So that's like breaking that pattern of trauma and darkness. There's also this energy of swings between being docile and then agitated. So there could be this psychological being docile and a little bit dovish to being agitated and really intense. There could also be a sort of addiction to like taboo things, prostitutes, whores, drugs, like the dark side of life. Like the darkness is something that you're like, oh yeah, I can walk through there. Like it's easy, it's nice, I can manage it. Bad boys, bad girls, intense scenarios, intense situations where there's like a lot of perversion, a lot of drugs. You may not be afraid of these dark alleys of the world, and you might almost like go into them and almost kind of be like, oh, I'm going to save them. Like I'm going to help them out of here. I've seen people that end up with, they want to find a partner, but they end up always with strippers, or they end up with sex workers. And it can never be like a stable relationship. It can never be like a moral relationship. There's also this sort of deceptive and being defrauded. So you being deceived, or people are frauding you. So you fall into these deceptions. They could also can be both an attractive and a victim, an attacker or a victim. So you could either be the victim of those traumas, or you're the attacker that creates traumas. So again, this is if it's this balance with the Ketu in the 8th house. Also, there could be this sort of partner that has poor financial skills and saves very little. So ending up in relationships where your partner is not very good with money, and their share resources are minimal, and you can't really get like good share resources with this person. Also, there's serious illnesses from peculiar diseases, especially diseases of the sexual organs. Diseases that are not diagnosed properly can also happen here because it's kind of in the shadows. It's difficult to pinpoint it. There could be accidents. I don't know where accidents, an accident with this, an accident with that, a sudden event, a sudden situation, and just kind of always attracting this like, scenarios of trauma and accidents, fevers, burns, cuts. Reproductive and eliminatory ailments can also happen here. So if you're experiencing any of these issues with Ketu in the 8th house, I highly suggest that you check out the remedies at the beginning of the video, because that is going to help you to get more of the good benefits that this Ketu can bring you when it's in the 8th house. Also, those were your messages. And if you would like to have a personal reading with me, since these messages are actually general, then I highly suggest that you book a one-on-one consultation with me in the description here below. And also, if you would like to learn astrology with me, then check out the workshops that I'm going to be hosting in the pinned comment below. Those were your messages, my beautiful people of the Ketu in the 8th house. I hope that they help. Love you guys so much. And if you like it, make sure to give me a like and a hype, and also write in the comments, where is your Ketu placement and how have you had the experiences in the 8th house here. We will love to all learn together. Now we're going to be doing Ketu in the 9th house. Welcome to people who have Ketu in the 9th house. This is actually one of the very good placements for Ketu in the 9th house, because it shows that in a past life you were some sort of monk, some sort of nurse, nun, some sort of monk, some sort of nun, somebody who was highly spiritual, highly moralistic, highly religious. And because of this, you have come into this life with a lot of natural wisdom. You are that person who just knows what's right and what's wrong from a very young age. You didn't have to necessarily go through bad situations to really learn that was bad to do. Like, you just innately know this is not moral, this is not right, and this is wrong, and I'm gonna do the right thing. These are my good boys and good girls naturally. You guys also have like an innate wisdom within you, where people may say, oh, you're like an old soul. You just know this wisdom. You just know these things naturally. They come to you so naturally. And so there is this very abstract, esoteric thinking about you. You can grasp very deep topics that are highly spiritual, highly educational. But at the same time, there was a lot of reliance in your past life with faith and with religion. And so in this lifetime, you know, like monks like live in their little isolated monasteries up in the mountains. So in this lifetime, life kind of wants you to take all that beautiful wisdom that you have, all that innate, moral, righteous, beautiful energy, and kind of bring it into the world and teach others and bring a message, because that's another thing. You're a natural teacher of these things. The only thing that you're learning is that you're learning how can you transfer all these very high topics into something simple, into something where you're teaching a kindergarten about this. One of the things that may happen with this Ketu in the ninth is that you highly isolate yourself, because you may feel like, just like the people around me don't get it, my community doesn't get it. You may feel like you just think way too high and everybody else is like thinking in stupid little things. The idea is that you don't just isolate with your books to just read this high knowledge, but it's like, how can you actually connect with others? How can actually you bring this message to other people? How to bring this healing and this message? There's a messenger in you that really has to come, and life wants you to use your ability to naturally have faith to create your own life. These are the people that can build their own, you know, like your destinies in your hands, and according to your efforts you will see the results. So you can really make your own life like this. So very, very powerful. Here also we have the unbounded knowledge, like just immense knowledge that just pours through you. So when Ketu is favorable and is well aspected, and you've been doing the right actions, Ketu can give you some very good results, like adaptable perspectives on life. You are adaptable. You're not so dogmatic. You're not so close-minded. You're adaptable to people's different perspectives, different views, different ways of seeing things. You could also be you explore many different philosophies. Definitely, you're always learning more about all different philosophies, learning more about different ways of thinking. You know, you may end up kind of coming up with your own belief system, like I believe a little bit of this, I believe a little bit of that, I believe a little bit of this other thing. So you don't really get so locked up in a certain belief system, but it is good for you to not become fully atheist. You have such a deep connection with God that I don't see it to be possible, but you are meant to kind of open yourself up to different philosophies and different ways of seeing it. There's also spiritual tendencies. Naturally, there is the spiritual tendency of wanting to be righteous, be spiritual, be moral, that naturally comes into your heart. There's also travels to shrines and religious sites. When Ketu is in a good energy, it can take you into pilgrimages, and it can take you into these spiritual sites that make you very, very happy within. Now, when Ketu is badly aspected in the ninth house, you can get different results, like unstable fortune. The fortune is kind of all over the place, not very consistent, and this kind of stabilizes with consistent efforts that you put in your life. Also changes in religion and philosophies throughout your life, like too many of them, not really sticking to something, constantly changing your philosophies in life. There could be ups and downs in relationships with father. This is also kind of taking you to, there could be so much love for your father when you have this Ketu in the ninth house, like you just deeply adore and love your father, but that could take you into not, you know, having your own self-reliance. So when Ketu's negative here, it can give you problems with father. So the energy is like having a balanced relationship with your father, where it's not too extreme here. Also guru, it can give you unstable relationships with guru, with teachers. It could be, you could be feeling a little bit frustrated that you can't get like that full-on recognition from your guru, or that full-on recognition from your father that you wish to have, or the full-on recognition from your authorities, how you feel like you deserve. So here Ketu saying, you know, like just give service to your father, to your guru, to authorities, without, in a selfless way, where you don't necessarily have to get something in return, have to get the recognition, have to get their approval, and like be content with that. Also, there could be this energy where you don't finish your studies or a higher educational level. It could disrupt your going to college, going to university. But it would be good for you to finish it, especially if you have the opportunity to go, like, do it all the way and finish it. It's going to be very beneficial. Also shifts points of view to fit the circumstances. That could also kind of be a little bit of a hypocritical thing. So you have to be very cautious with being hypocritical, because that's going to bring bad results. There could also be travels or changes of residency too frequently and not being able to kind of stay still. There's this sort of anxiety to always want to be free. And this feeling of like, I just want to be free all the time, kind of leads you to not being able to settle down and to build something for a while and to see the results of this. There is freedom in commitment. Like when you finally commit to an idea, to a person, to a lifestyle, to something, you can find deep freedom in it, instead of like, you're free, therefore you're lost, like the existential saying says. Also, there could be lower back pain or hip pain that can happen here with the Ketu in the 9th house. So if you're experiencing any of these negative symptoms with the Ketu in the 9th house, then I highly suggest that you check out the remedies at the beginning of the video, because that is going to help you get more of the positive effects of Ketu in the 9th house. And also remember that these are general readings. If you would like to have a specific reading to your situation, then I highly suggest that you book a consultation with me. In the description here below, you will be able to book one today. And if you would like to learn Vedic astrology with me, I highly suggest you check out the workshops that I'm going to be running. They're going to be pinned in the comment below. Those are your messages, people with Ketu in the 9th house. I really hope that they help. Love you guys so much. If you like these messages, make sure to give me a like and a hype, and make sure to leave me in the comments what is your Ketu placement and how has it shown up for you, so that we can all learn together. Now we're going to be doing Ketu in the 10th house. When we have Ketu in the 10th house, this definitely shows that in a past life you were some sort of authority figure. You could have been a president. You could have been in a very high status. You could have been a very powerful CEO, EO. You were highly successful and you worked a lot. You were just always working, always doing, always working, always working. And so this makes you very powerful, because you naturally have created an ability to create business. You are just a natural business person. You know how to run a business in the correct way. You are a hard worker. You love to be working. There is this talent for holding it together for many people, to manage businesses, to make great things, to go up in status. You have these talents naturally. However, there could be a sort of addiction to wanting to get on top all the time, wanting to be successful and rich and famous, or in a very high position in life. These people usually, when they reincarnate in this lifetime and they have this aspect, they might be born and then they are in a very simple house, or not in a very high position, in a more middle class family, let's say, and they'll look around and be like, that's it? Like, where are my things? Like, where is my status? Where's my recognition? Like, where is my high status? Because you have really mastered these things in a past life. However, in this past life, you understood that you were really, working very hard for success. They were like, okay, if you become successful, you'll be happy. And you really believed this. And so you worked and worked and worked and achieved and went up the corporate ladder and went up the mountain and got more recognition. And in the hopes that you will find like true happiness. But you have recognized, what your soul has recognized, is that career position and professionalism success is not true happiness. It could actually put you more in a situation where you have to pretend more, like kind of when they say, you cannot bring your feelings to the job, you cannot bring your family problems to the job, so you have to put on this mask, you have to put up this front so that you can work, so that you can do. And so you became a master of compartmentalizing your emotions, compartmentalizing your feelings, and you just do what you need to do to get the work done. Even if it means like, I can't eat, I don't have time for that, like things need to get done, these things need to get achieved. There could be so much ambition, like your ambitions are so high and you do achieve your ambitions. But Ketu here is trying to teach you that we have to detach ourselves from these ambitions, because these ambitions give the illusion that we're going to be so happy, but it doesn't give us that true happiness that we seek. The Rahu in the 4th house is trying to take you towards your heart, towards your emotions, towards the simpler things of life, and to show you that maybe sometimes just having a family is the thing that will make you the happiest. To become a father, to become a mother, it might be the thing that actually makes you the happiest, and it may seem like it's so whatever. So one person that has this aspect is Steve Jobs. And if you check out the movie of Steve Jobs, you will see how his addiction and his hyper ambition led him to actually being fired of his own company. And he also ended up getting a woman pregnant, and he denied the child for years upon years because he thought that if he became a father, it was going to ruin his career. And once he embraced the family, once he embraced, the child, then his career came back into balance once again. So check out that movie to understand more. But here, when like Ketu in the 10th house is really giving us the multifaceted career, for sure. There is a very unique career that comes here and is very multifaceted. When it is in a favorable position, Ketu can give you spiritual orientation, especially if your career deals with spiritual things. It could be very powerful for you. It could also give you the capacity to develop higher states of consciousness and be known for these things, as well as travel for spiritual purposes. That would be amazing, to be traveling for spiritual purposes and to make a name and a profession with spiritual purposes, as well as has the intelligence and the fortitude to adapt to changing circumstances. You are definitely very determined, very tenacious. You make things happen. You're very goal oriented, and this is very strong for you. Very clever, very flexible, very good at business. You can be that person that your boss naturally comes to you and says, hey, what would you do in my position for the business to get better? And you'll be like, obviously this and this and this and that. So you are just a natural at creating powerful business models, for sure. Now, when Ketu is unfavorable in the 10th house, we can be getting different results, and it could be unfavorable because of a bad position, bad sign, bad nakshatra, or just because of your own actions. It can lead to weakening this Ketu, and then you can get things more like you get both respect and disrespect from others. There's a lack of self-identity here, because you're kind of putting up the front to work and to just accomplish things. There could be a constant change of status and career that kind of happens. Your career gets disbalanced. You may be like, okay, I'm just going to work another 5 years and then I'll retire. And literally on the 4 year and a half, boom, something happens and it doesn't work out in the way that you wanted it. Very uncertain about purpose in life. Sometimes it could be very uncertain. You don't know what it is that you want to do. You don't know, even though you have great talent to make things happen. There's this balance here of knowing what is your purpose in life. Broken relationships with father. Definitely, it could be difficult father situations. So healing father wounds is very crucial for Ketu to give you better results here. There could also be troubles with authority figures that kind of happen. People may see you as somebody that doesn't want to be a team player, and you may fall into these problems with authority figures when Ketu is badly aspected in the 10th house. There could also be broken relationships with father, and there could also be employees who don't evaluate their performance properly. So you may not show up to work as best as you can possibly can if Ketu is badly aspected. And there could also be problems with the knees and the joints and your bones that happen here. So Ketu here is trying to just detach you a little bit from your ambitions. And if you are confused about your career, then I highly suggest you get a reading with me to understand it a little bit more. But it is trying to tell you to spiritualize, to find more devotion in your career sector, in a purpose in life that is going to be more of your calling for you. So if you're experiencing any of the negative symptoms with Ketu in the 10th house, then I highly suggest that you check out the beginning of the video where the remedies are at. Do some of these remedies so that you can get more of the benefits from Ketu in the 10th house. That is for you, Ketu in the 10th house. Remember that these are general messages. Definitely book a consultation with me in the description here below if you want to know more about your chart. And if you would like to learn Vedic astrology with me, then check out my workshops that I'm hosting in the pinned comment below. You can find them. Those are your messages, my beautiful Ketu in the 10th. I hope that they help. And if you like them, make sure to give me a like and a hype. And also let me know in the comments what is your Ketu placement and how has it shown up for you so that we can all learn together. Now we're going to be doing Ketu Ketu in the 11th house. Welcome. If you have Ketu in the 11th house, this is your energies. So this general energies of Ketu in the 11th house is somebody who has come from a past of community, deeply friendship. There is a sort of codependence on friendships a lot, on communities, on being part of groups. This is the person that can keep up with all the WhatsApp chats. You are that amazing friend that just always shows up, that is always there for others, that knows how to celebrate others. You have this ability to, make everybody feel so special and make every friend like really stay with you. These are people that know a lot of people. And there's just always the sacrifices that you do for friends. It does show that in a past life, because you lived in communities or you were very attached to friendships, there wasn't, you almost never got to see your own light. You were always seeing the light of others. You were always seeing how other people were so talented, and you could have never really seen how special you are. There was also a very strong detachment. You're kind of like a master of detachment here. You have the ability to detach from your pride, from your false ego, from your selfish needs for the betterment of others and the betterment of humanity. You are like the natural humanitarian here that really cares for everybody and everything. And the detachment, though, sometimes detaches you so much from passion that you may not, you may be like in this blah state all the time, where it's like, oh, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? Wouldn't you like to play this or do this? Or and it's like, yes, you're disinterested in being famous. You're disinterested in being the star. But you are so detached that now you don't even know what your passions are. And so there's almost like a cop-out to life that happens here when Ketu is a little bit too Ketubian. And we're not allowing ourselves to kind of embrace a little bit of passion in our lives, embrace a little bit of attachment, like living a too much of a detached life. These are the people that you can't get them to do anything. If they don't feel like it, they won't do it. If they're not inspired, they won't do it. They're also very hard to pinpoint. They almost, I've seen that they almost like don't allow nobody to define them, because they want to be so different, so weird. So they outcast themselves sometimes, because like, I'm very different, I'm not like anybody else. But they also don't know how to define who they are. Then these are the people that know how to tap into the collective hive mind and like live in the collective hive mind. They love forums, they love to be watching, what other people are doing, or in social media, or like what are people talking about, or what is the trend, or what are people's thoughts, what are people's opinions, what are people saying. And it's like they know everything that everybody else is saying, they know everything that everybody else is doing, they know all the things that are that the collective is thinking. But when it comes to like, okay, but what do you think of that? What is your opinion on that? They almost are like they don't want to define that. They don't want to really say their own personal opinion. So it's almost like they love to be in the crowd and get lost in the crowd and stay in the sort of the crowd vibe. They tap into the crowd. They're very shy. I've seen people with Ketu in the 11th house, they're very shy. They truly believe that they don't have any talents, that they're not that special. They can applaud for everybody else, but not for them. And they might be at disinterest in having children. They're like, no, for what? What do I need to have children for? But your destiny is really kind of propelling you to have children. That's going to be something that could be very beneficial for you. So here, what we have is like a multiple opportunities and profits that can happen as well when Ketu is in the 11th house. If it's favorable and you have it, you've been doing the right actions for Ketu to be strong, you can get wealth by taking advantage of opportunities and arising from reorganizations and chaotic situations. So it's like, yes, if you have the passion and if you take the willpower, you can definitely create a lot of wealth in your life. But you have to be careful of being too detached and too disinterested in everything. But it could definitely give you lots of wealth by taking advantage of the opportunities. that are arising from reorganization of things or chaotic things. So tapping into that. Also, there could be situation you make money in bursts, where money kind of shows up in bursts of collective money. There could also be amuses friends. You know how to be very friendly. You know how to have a great friendship relationships. But the idea here is that you don't put your friends before you, that you're not constantly abandoning your passions and your wants and your needs because of your friends. And that you're not like, well, I always wanted to get in, like, I always wanted to do music, but I don't have my friends who want to start a band with me, so I'm not going to do music. Like, be careful with this attitude. Like, even if other people don't want to do it, you still do it. That is the best way to go about this. Also, there could be very clever. A partner benefits from spiritual practices. So it would be good for you to be more involved with spiritual communities, spiritual friends, to not get into so much, to not have like psychic vampires or like friend enemies that are just kind of taking from you. Like, it needs to have a little bit more of a spiritual friendships that could be very beneficial for you. And children come as a surprise when we have it here, and they're a blessing. Some of you guys may think like, oh no, this is bad if they come as a surprise, but it actually is a very big blessing for anybody who has a Ketu in the 11th house. Now, if Ketu is debilitated, badly aspected, in a bad sign, in a difficult position, or it's just giving you negative results because of your own actions, you could be experiencing things like variable or inconsistent relationships with friends and older siblings. There's issues going on with friends and older siblings that happen here. Also, unreliable as a friend. You yourself is an unreliable friend, or you may associate with people that are just not good for you. They're unreliable. They have shown to be bad friends, and you kind of stick around and stay with that negative relationships. Also, loses money through risky or pioneering type enterprises. So you may take action into something and then it turns out into a loss instead of gaining more money. There could also be cash flow that is up and down. You make money in hidden and mysterious and devious ways. So be careful with this. Be careful with any illegal means of making money, or deceivious or hidden or mysterious. Like, you do better with making money in a very solid, real, and upfront way. Also, there could be loss of children, or children are unstable if Ketu is, acting wrong here or giving you bad results. There could also be accidents and ailments of the lower legs, especially the shins. So if you are experiencing any of these negative aspects of Ketu in the 11th house, then I highly suggest you check out the remedies at the beginning of the video and do some of those remedies to strengthen Ketu so that I can give you more of the benefits that Ketu can have when you have a Ketu in the 11th house. Now, those were your messages. Remember that these are general messages. If you would like to have a specific message, then I highly suggest that you book a consultation with me in the description here below. You will be able to book one today. And if you would like to learn Vedic astrology with me, then also check out the workshops that I'm currently hosting in the pinned comment below. Those are your messages, Ketu in the 11th. I hope that they help. Love you guys so much. If you like them, make sure to give me a like and a hype, and make sure to also leave us a comment letting us know where your Ketu placement is and how has it shown up for you. Now we're going to be doing Ketu in the 12th house. Welcome to anybody who has Ketu in the 12th house. This is for you. Ketu in the 12th house is actually a very powerful energy. It definitely brings you in. You come from a past life of being very spiritual, isolated. You could have been a yogi in a past life, a renunciate in a past life. You really master a lot of spiritual practices. You did a lot of renunciation. You did a lot of meditation. And because of this, you have a lot of spiritual Shakti that naturally comes to you. You have this ability to really trust life and go with the flow a lot. And it's very powerful. Now, the thing here, the negative part of Ketu here is that you may be a little bit addicted to being too relaxed, too nonchalant, too laid back, to the point that you're not taking care of the things in life that need to be taken care of. You're like, well, I'll pay the bills later, or I'll clean later. And like, there might be a sort of detachment to effort especially if it takes a lot of effort, if it takes a lot of hard work, if it takes a lot of from you. You may be in this feeling of like, I don't want to put too much energy and like not get enough. There might be this sort of addiction to like, if I just meditate into what I want, it's just going to appear in front of me and ta-da, I'm going to manifest it. And Ketu here is not allowing you to do this. Ketu here is saying we have to detach from these laziness, this procrastination, this escapism, this like wanting to escape hard work, wanting to escape doing the difficult things in life, fighting. Sometimes life is like, yeah, we got to go out there and hustle and fight and win. And there might be this sort of like, I can just like stay up in the mountain meditating for the rest of my life and escape all of that, and I'll still get what I want. So what I've seen people that have this Ketu in the 12th house is that they sometimes struggle a lot with first having a schedule. They struggle so much with being consistent in a schedule. They struggle a lot with workout. They don't want to work out. They don't feel like it. It's too much struggle. It's too much. Or they work out very lenient, very light, where they maybe show up to the gym and they just went to the sauna and that's it. But they don't really are afraid to like do the hard work and pushing themselves. There could also be this frustration where it's like, I have all these amazing ideas, I have all these amazing things, but I cannot manifest them. I don't know how to bring them into reality. I don't know how to make them into tangible results. And this can become a sort of frustration. So here Ketu is trying to tell you like, yes, you have all this spiritual Shakti, you have all this spiritual ability, but if you don't have a strong body, and if you don't put this spiritual Shakti to service, then it's just not gonna mean anything. What is the point of you becoming enlightened up in the mountain by yourself without giving service to the world and to the other jivas and to the other souls that also need help? So a part of you really wants to be of service. A part of you really wants to be of help, but it needs consistency. You need consistency. You need a schedule. You need to follow your schedule, and you need to not be afraid of these hardships of life, not being afraid of the pressure of life, not being afraid when things become difficult, and not escape and not just go somewhere else. If it's this balance, it might even take you into drugs, into substances where you can just live in la la land and not necessarily have to deal with the realities of life. I also seen that people who have this Ketu in the 12th house, they're like amazing at disintegrating anything, where it's like, why don't you clean your kitchen? The kitchen is so dirty. Oh, what's the point of cleaning it if tomorrow's going to get dirty? And it's like they just disintegrate all these things and it kind of annihilate every single sort of idea. And it's like, why don't you find a job? It's like, what's the point of having a job? What's the point of having working so hard 9 to 7 for nothing? And then like, that's how I'm going to live my life. Well, it's like that, or just there's this attraction to just not doing anything. And it's like, that's also not fulfilling at all, but they may seem like, oh, I just go with the flow. There could also be this thing where it's like, I'm waiting for inspiration to come. So if tomorrow I feel inspired to go to the gym, then I'll go. But it's like, no, it's not the inspiration. Is that the thing isn't in the to-do list. You're supposed to do it because you put it in the to-do list and you do it. You don't like wait around for the inspiration, because it will never come. So when we have this energy, there's definitely an innovative liberation that happens here. If you have a favorable Ketu in the 12th house, it can give you results like it has the capacity to attain enlightenment here. Of course, very powerful spiritual energy for sure. You also spend time in seclusion and in spiritual growth. You want to spend time in seclusion for your spiritual growth, not just to not do anything. There's also brings a mystical element to sexual experiences. There is a mastery in these things, and also loves to travel faraway lands, loves to go to faraway lands, and also goes on distant pilgrimages. So when we have a favorable Ketu, it leads more into this spiritual discipline that comes into play. But if the Ketu is negatively aspected in a difficult sign, or it's just giving you bad results because of your own decisions, then you can be getting like spends erratically your time. You don't spend it, you just spend it like whatever, erratically, like all over the place. You live of others' goodwill as well, where you don't necessarily want to work hard and you're just like kind of asking for charity all the time, living from charity, like creating nonprofits, GoFundMes for your own living, so that you can keep living where you don't have to do anything, where you have to do the minimum of minimum. There could also be this inconsistent mind, this inconsistency, especially with the schedule. When you say, okay, I'm going to start working out, and maybe you do it for one day and then it stops. So it's like learning how to be consistent, learning how to stick to what you say you're going to do. And in the schedule, you can also add, bueno, I have 1 hour of meditation. I sleep well. I go to bed early. Like you can also add your relaxing time, but learning that when you're relaxing, you're relaxing. And when you're working, you're working. Not that like when you're working, you wish you were relaxing. And when you're relaxing, you're feeling anxious that, oh my gosh, all these things need to get done. I don't want to talk. I don't want to think about all the things that need to get done. So I'm just going to drink, or I'm going to do drugs, or I'm going to escape so that I don't have to think of all the things that need to get done. There could also be a mind is disconnected from the world. So too disconnected from the world. Also unable to maintain an intimate relationship. There could also be problems with self-isolation. Like now you're getting too isolated, just so that nobody has any expectations on you, so that nobody is, wanting something from you, or you don't have to be responsible for anything. There could also be appears holy but has a secret side. spiritual F boys, spiritual F girls. Like it appears holy. It appears that they're so holy deep down inside, but then there's this dark side. There's this manipulative side. There's this side that is hypocritical. That could also show where Ketu is debilitated in this 12th house. It can also give you an insufficient financial focus, again, because you want it, but then you don't. And then it's like, I'm not going to make it. I don't want to do, I don't want to dedicate myself to working on a daily basis on something that could be hard. And so I prefer taking it from others, or living out of others, or living out of charity, or finding other ways. There could also be a peculiar ailments of the feet, where you have problems in your feet, issues with your feet, and ear ailments as well as sight problems. So if you're experiencing any of these negative side effects of Ketu in the 9th house, then I highly suggest that you check out the remedies at the beginning of the video. That is going to help you to bring out more of the positive effects of Ketu in the 12th house. And remember that these are general messages. If you would like to have a specific message to your situation, then I highly suggest that you book a consultation with me. In the description here below, you will be able to find my link. And if you would like to learn Vedic astrology with me, then check out my workshops that I'm hosting in the pinned comment below. Those were your messages, Ketu in the 12th house. I hope that they help. Love you guys so much. If you like them, make sure to give me a like and a hype, and leave us in the comments what is your Ketu placement and how has it shown up for you, so that we can all learn together. Those were your messages for everybody. Thank you so much for being here for the Ketu Through the Houses series. Truly, truly love you guys so much. Oh, excuse me. Sending everybody so much love and light. Thank you for the likes, thank you for the comments, and thank you for the hypes. Truly, truly appreciate you, and I'll be seeing you on the next video. Hari Bol and Hari Krishna.